Alright guys, what's up? It's me, Budgetpc Computer. Today we're back with another video. So guys, this right here is a free PC that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, alright? So you can see right here, it's not had the best of life, especially since the DVD cover thing is like half broken. Yeah, this thing, hey, it even has a floppy drive too, that's awesome. But yeah, this thing is pretty old, beaten up. Let's go see if we can turn this thing into a gaming beast, alright? With a little bit of help, well, obviously, we're not going to do that in this video. We're going to go ahead and see how well it does in its stock form. Then we'll go ahead and build like a $10 PC out of it or something, which, yeah, that'll be interesting, alright? But anyways, so let's go ahead, see what we've gotten here, alright? So we already know we have a Core 2 Duo. It's from the Vista era, so I'm guessing like a Core 2 Duo E 6000 series. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Alright. Oh god, oh god. This side panel is actually shockingly heavy. What the hell? This thing has so much history on it. It's also got a sticker that says it's the property state of blank because, well, I don't want to dox myself. But anyway, so let's go and have a look in here. So I actually have cleaned this thing out mildly already, but that's about it. I haven't really looked at much else. I'm gonna probably have to replace that CMOS battery if I'm guessing. Let's see here. Oh, this looks like that really garbage cooler, the same one that Budgetpc had to deal with, but his had a Pentium dual core, and this has a Core 2 Duo. Yeah. Hey, I think this at least has PCIe though, although it's got a really strange PCIe if you can look back there. Yeah, this Optiplex 760 is really strange here. I think. Oh, wait, I can see the RAM modules on it. This thing has 8 gigs of RAM. That's really, really shockingly good. It's really good, especially during RAM shortage. 8 gigs will be perfectly fine. Oh no, I think I see something. You see that back there? All the way back there? It's very difficult to see it. But I'm going to wait for it to focus. I'm going to let it brighten out. But you see this right here, this thing back here? That's a hard drive. That's a laptop hard drive, meaning that whoever owned this previously probably wanted to keep the old hard drive, but he decided, or they rather, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they decided to put a random laptop hard drive in there. Just so you know, I have the full PC right here. But yeah, guys, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and repaste the PC. Gonna go ahead and also look at more of the specs, alright? Also, floppy drive. I'm gonna hope it fully functions, because I don't have any floppy drives. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do what I can, replace the thermal paste, and then I'm gonna go ahead and come back to you guys when I'm installing Windows, alright? Alright guys, I'm back. As you can see here, I've taken the cooler off, and sheesh, that thermal paste is dry, but also look at this. Ugh, that is gnarly. Man, I did not clean this enough. Ugh, that is disgusting. I'm gonna take this to a restroom, to a bathroom, and I'm just gonna flush everything in it that's not supposed to be there, like the dust, for example, down the sink, alright? But yeah, guys, anyways, I think I should be able to install Windows now, because it already has a hard drive in there, so yeah, guys. Anyway, see you at the Windows installation process. Alright guys, so as you can see here, I have the PC put mostly back together. I have Ventor USB right here. I have it hooked up to power, keyboard, mouse, and VGA, alright? Now, I will go ahead and get an Ethernet cable over here, but, I mean, I guess it'll probably be fine. But yeah, as you can see here, guys, currently there's no signal out, but that's because it's not turned on. Let's see if it works. Alright, because if it doesn't, it's not gonna be good then. Alright, let's hope. Let's hope. Alright, I can hear the fan starting up. I have no clue what the BIOS key is for these Dell Optiplexes, but it'll be fine. Alright, so far no signal out. If the power button turns green, that means that there's a signal. You know what? I guarantee you it's because I have this thing also plugged into DVI. Let's see if I can switch it. Analog input. Alright. That's VGA out, which is what the Dell Optiplex is hooked up to. I don't think it's turning on. That's not good. Give me a second. Alright guys, great news. I got to post up, alright? So, the problem was actually, as you can see here, if I go down here, as you can see, I only have one RAM stick in there now, which means that it wasn't working with all 4 of these RAM sticks for some reason. So I'm going to troubleshoot it and see how much RAM it's willing to boot up with, alright? And then I'll see if I have any more spare DDR2 to replace it with, alright? So yeah, guys. Anyways, I'm going to get back to you when I've gotten it mostly fully working. Alright, guys, I think I know why the RAM wasn't posting. Look at the slots. Those are disgusting, my God. No wonder why it wasn't working. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take an old toothbrush here, remove out all that gunk, and I'll see if it posts up with all the RAM, alright? Yuck, that is disgusting. Guys, I've just found the culprit. This stick right here is a dead stick of RAM. I have no clue why it died, but every time I put it in here, it bits with this configuration memory. Every time I put this in there, I even tried putting this in different slots. It just beeped really, really freaking loudly. So yeah, guys, this is why I wasn't booting up. So we lost a stick of RAM, but I'm gonna let myself find another replacement 2 gig stick, so we can, have the full, experience of this computer. Because, I want to have the full experience, because currently it's running in single channel mode, and considering we're going to use the integrated graphics on the system, yeah, that's not great. Alright, but anyways, guys, screw the stick of RAM. I'm going to go ahead, get another stick, put it in there, we're going to install Windows. Alright, guys, so after sorting through my inventory of RAM, I've managed to get this posting with 8 gigs of RAM, alright? Now, all my sticks just died for some reason, so yeah. Anyways, sheesh, this CPU cooler is actually pretty decent. I mean, I just repasted it, so yeah, that's some decent airflow going on in there. But yeah, guys, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and boot off the Ventura USB now, alright? Alright, guys, as you can see here, it is currently installing, alright? Now, you guys might notice, this is the Windows 10 setup. Why in the world have I decided to install Windows 10 onto this PC? Well, first off, it's not just Windows 10, it's Tiny 10. Now, Tiny 10 is a lot more optimized for hard drives, alright? Now, since I'm too cheap to put an SSD in here, well, at least in this video, maybe in a future video when I upgrade this thing. But yeah, guys, since I'm too cheap to put an SSD in here, yeah, I don't think Windows 11 is going to run well in here, right? We can't even run the latest version anyways. The max version this will support is 23H2, and I have Windows Tiny 10 23H2 installing on here right now. So, yeah. So, like I said, there's no reason to put Windows 11 on here, okay? As well, we have an old, slow hard drive, and I know that Windows 10 doesn't work well with hard drives either, but this is Tiny 10, so, yeah. And also, why not just go with Windows 7? Because Windows 7 runs like a dream on hard drives. Well, support, alright? Like, Windows 7 barely even supports Steam, alright? And I don't really want to feel like dealing with compatibility issues right now. I just want it to work, alright? I just want this to be a quick video, where, I don't have to spend a few days working on compatibility issues just for it to finally work, and then when I actually do the benchmarks, everything breaks because of a Windows update that I accidentally left it on overnight for. So yeah, guys, anyways, let's go and go on with the installation process. And actually, let's go and go on with the specs, because the specs of this thing are actually pretty interesting. I know that you guys have been waiting for that. Alright, guys, so this free Facebook PC, aka the Dell Optiplex 760 small form factor, features 8 gigs of DDR2 800MHz dual channel RAM, which is pretty decent considering it's free. CPU-wise, it's got the Intel Core 2 Duo E8400, which is running at 3 GHz with no boost clock, which is 2 cores and 2 threads. It's meh. It compares to like a modern-day Chromebook Celeron, but yeah, it ain't great. Although for general usage, it's alright. Storage-wise, we have the dying 160GB SATA 3 HDD it came with. Let's just say this thing caused me so much pain. But anyways, GPU-wise, we have the legendarily shit Intel GMA 4500. Basically, this chip was known to be the worst thing at the time, okay? Slower than a GT210 by a significant mile. And in terms of other notes, the hard drive died mid-recording. So, yeah, rest RIP to it, or aka, rest in pieces, because I hate that thing. I hate it. Anyways, guys, let's go and get on with the actual installation of Windows. Alright guys, so I'm on my capture PC right now, which, you know, is my 5060 based PC, but as you can see here, I think the hard drive died, okay? Because not only did it give me an error saying that it failed to post because there was a hard drive issue, it's also giving me that error. Oh crap, I'm gonna have to... So, yeah guys, that hard drive is dead. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna go ahead and what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna, you know, I gotta go ahead and replace the hard drive. So, yeah, let's go ahead now. I'm gonna turn this off. I would replace it with an SSD, but I kind of feel like, you know, I need the experience, a true experience, alright? Even if, you know, one of the parts is dead, alright? Now, you could argue that the RAM was already dead, but, yeah, this PC is deep fried. I mean, it is free, okay? One of the RAM sticks was dead. Yes, I could just take out a stick. I would lose a lot of performance, but whatever. But if the hard drive's dead, then we're cooked. Alright, so yeah. I'm going to replace it with the same hard drive, and then in the future video, I'll place it with an SSD, alright? But yeah, let's go and get on back with the video. So, how does it work for general tasks? Well, not great. Anything that wasn't web browsing took forever, thanks to the slow-dying HDD that was at 100% usage constantly. Now, I know this is a replacement one, but it was also dying for some reason. It took a solid 20 minutes for it to fully boot up, and even longer after you log in. Not only that, but some websites that use the disk for some reason will run really, really slowly. The only redeeming factor was the 8GB of RAM, which is still mediocre, but it's better than 4GB or even 2GB. An SSD would help things significantly, but in its current state, I would not call it usable, as it takes a long time to get things going, and even then, it isn't snappy. As for YouTube playback, it can barely play 720p 60 and works better with 720p 30. Overall, it would actually be a decent if you had a 128GB SSD, but considering the current shortages, it is worth quite a bit, the 128GB SSD, not this PC. But enough of the general usage benchmarks. It's time to get on with the gaming benchmarks, as I know that is why you are here, to see if it can game in the big 2026. Let's get on with the gaming benchmarks, shall we? Starting off right in the deep end here, we have Minecraft Java running at 1080p and with my normal list of mods, which includes Sodium, Iris, and Worst running with the lowest settings possible, and the game is not running great. There were constant stutters which led to averages of 22 FPS and with 1% lows being pathetic and not playable at all 5. We had to run window mode as full screen mode would blue screen the PC. Nice. The GPU was pushed to the limit by Minecraft's really beautiful, fast graphics, and the CPU was barely loading chunks. Any explosions will drop frame rates to the single digits as the little Core 2 Duo that could was struggling. Flying around will also drop the FPS as the Core 2 Duo is really struggling. We also had to hack proper accelerated GPU drivers as the Windows 10 default one had bad acceleration, and SDI didn't help. We also could only run 1.60.5 as this iGPU is nasty. Overall, Minecraft Java barely runs on this free Facebook Marketplace PC. On to the next benchmark. Next up, we have Half-Life 2, which is a famous game from 2004, running at 720p with the lowest settings, and this PC is struggling. The result coming up is almost worse than what we saw in the Gateway MV52, and that is a mid-range laptop in the same era. At these pathetic settings, the free PC pulls an average of 43 FPS with 1% lows down to 29, which ain't great considering this is a PC from 2008. The 1% lows were dropped down by the pathetic HDD, which suffered at 100% at basically any game that I tested it with. More intensive areas will drop the FPS to the low 30s, but overall Half-Life 2 is barely a pass and performs worse than I expected on this free Facebook PC. On to the next benchmark. Next up, Fallout 3 and New Vegas both locked up the PC so bad the hard drive died, so I had to swap it again to another random 160GB HDD. Thanks Fallout 3 and New Vegas for giving me more pain, you piece of... Overall, Fallout 3 and New Vegas hate me and this PC. On to the next benchmark. Oblivion here, as Skyrim and Morrowind both crashed the PC and made it beep a hard drive error, which is odd since Morrowind is older than Oblivion. Oblivion was running at 720p with the lowest settings used, which looks awful, and at these settings, the PC scrapes an average of 59 FPS with 1% lows down to 32. More open areas will make the GPU cry and drop the frame rate down to the low 30s, as shown in our 1% lows. The game also took very long to load thanks to that pathetic HDD being at 100% constantly. Overall, this result is extremely bad, but barely pass on this free PC. On to the next benchmark. Next up, with a decent game from 2006 here, we have Driver Parallel Lines running at 720p with the lowest settings selected, and this game is running really poorly. The first time the game launched, it shut down the PC, probably due to overheating, but on the second try, it actually launched. At these very low settings, the free PC scores an average of 17 FPS with 1% lows down to 4. The hard drive was struggling to load in objects and textures, which is why the 1% lows were so bad and why the game had these really bad hitches in the frame times. As you can see from my gameplay, it is not playable at all. I was crashing left and right due to the input lag and, like I said from earlier, the major hitches in the frame times. Different areas of the map will run even worse. Until you load in the entire world into RAM, the frame times will suffer. Overall, Driver Parallel Lines is not playable on this free PC. Not at all. Not without at least an SSD upgrade and maybe even a GPU upgrade. On to the next benchmark. Next up, with the most intensive game on this list, we have BeamNG running at 640x480 with the lowest setting selected, and the game is running really poorly. We saw similar results to the 25-cent PC, with averages of 14, 1% lows down to 8. I'm surprised the game even launched. We also had to turn down the resistance to 100, which means that we can see approximately 10 feet ahead of us, otherwise it just looks like the void. The Core 2 Duo in combination with the GMA 4500 were the culprits for these very low performance. The game warned me that I had a slow CPU, GPU, and low disk space. Overall, BeamNG is not even close to playable on this free PC, which, I mean, is kind of expected considering this is very similar to the 25-cent PC. On to the second to last benchmark. Second to last benchmark here, we have Gary's Mod running at 640x480 with the lowest settings. The game is running really poorly. Keep in mind that this is a game from 2006 based on an engine from 2004, aka the Half-Life engine. The free PC scrapes together an average of 24 FPS with 1% lows down to 13. The benchmark took place in the GM construct with a simple car, and it's already running really poorly. So it is expected that more objects and NPCs will bring the FPS down further. More intensive maps will decrease FPS even more and may exceed our 8GB of RAM. Overall, Gary's Mod is not playable at all, since this can sometimes be a competitive game when in multiplayer mode. On to the last benchmark. Last up, we have Flat Out 1. This is a game from 2004, which you would expect to run well on this PC from 2008, right? Wrong! At 1280x960, which isn't even full HD, at the lowest possible settings, the game ain't run great. The free PC manages an average of 37 FPS with 1% lows down to 19. That result doesn't sound bad considering the other results, but the average doesn't tell the full story. The 1% lows are low because there were several servers which caused me to constantly crash, and most likely again, due to that dying HDD. Maybe with an SSD and maybe a proper GPU or lower resolution, this game would run better. Overall, Flat Out 1 rather, is just playable enough to the point where I would give it barely a pass, but I wouldn't actually like to use it. On to the conclusion. In conclusion, how well do I think this PC did? Well, it was not worth it even though it was free. The original hard drive died, and one of the RAM sticks died, so it wasn't all free like I said from earlier. Also, this PC caused me so much pain. The original hard drive died after I installed everything. By the way, what I mean by that is the hard drive that came with it died after I installed everything. And the replacement drive from the netbook died after 2 benchmarks. And the drive after that died after all the benchmarks were taken, luckily. So I didn't have to, pull out another hard drive and actually install Windows and everything onto it again. Every time the drive died, I had to reinstall Windows and all the games, which took hours since this is an HDD. All the PC gave me were a few migraines, a ton of decade-old dead skin, dust, germs, and a ton of cuts on my fingers. This is the first PC where without major upgrades I would call unusable. This PC struggles with any games after the 2000s that isn't 2D. Did I also mention the drivers don't even work? Intel has long since deleted the drivers for this iGPU, and Snappy Driver Installer, which works most of the time, failed twice to install the drivers before corrupting the HDD and making me reinstall everything again. I have to reinstall all of my games, Windows, and MSI Afterburner a total of 4 times, which is just insane. I struggled with this PC for a week, and it brought terrible performance and pain, which is why there were less benchmarks than normal, because I gave up on trying after 8 of them. Overall, I hate this PC, and will be keeping it for torturing purposes. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching me suffer and trying to use this PC as well. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pain. But anyways, guys, make sure to like and subscribe and also join the Discord, alright? Anyways, guys, have a good day, and see ya.